Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of LANCESCURV Outside in the Yard. I was having a conversation with Madam Whipbass earlier, and she promised to give us a really in-depth look into certain topics, and I'm not going to reveal all of them, but I wanted to talk about one of them. And we touched on reincarnation, right? And we didn't say yay or nay. I know many people in different faiths, such as Christianity, they'll say, no, one life and that's it. And so she asked me about my feel on reincarnation. And I couldn't commit. But I know there are many people who say, if you don't get this life right, you're going to have to come back and do it again. But on the biblical side, one life and one shot. So she had me between a rock and a hard place. I'm always going to speak my mind and always share my perspectives, but I had to think about it for a second. Because I like to think deep on certain things that people say is absolute. And I know biblically and with other faiths, the word has been tampered with. So what I came to the conclusion with on that particular question, which it wasn't really a question, we were both bouncing back and forth, but it was kind of a question, like, what do you think? And I said, let's just put reincarnation to the side for a second. But I feel there is a connectedness. More so than just reincarnation, you leave, you come back, you leave, you come back, you leave, you come back. As vast as creation is, this, like, forget faster than the speed of light. What about faster than the speed of thought? Faster than the speed of comprehension? What about that? Because as huge as my dome is, I don't know how many gigabytes it is or terabytes can hold, but it's a whole lot. I could not grasp the vastness of this universe at this one moment. And I've used this example before. I've said, if you could freeze everything, all movement, for the 1 second, and I gave you 1 million years to go across the earth and grasp every situation, every household, every gripe, every dysfunction, everything in the plant world, everything with bugs, insects, animals, people, good, bad, and ugly. I can give you 10 million years, and for that 1 second, so you throw a bottle up and it stays up. It doesn't go down and break. And the world waits for you to go around to deal with every single situation. 50 million years, you wouldn't have enough time. So what about the ongoing movement of life and creation? Not just on this little speck of dust called Earth, but the whole entire universe. Universe to me is too small of a word. Because it's like, oh, just outside. We say universe, we look at it, we see a few stars. Lots of times we're seeing stars that don't even exist anymore. They're so far away that the light is still traveling to you. But they're gone. It's like a person who mails you snail mail, a letter, through the postal service. They write you a nice letter or a scathing letter. And it may take 3 days, 4 days, maybe long distance, international may take a little longer. You receive the mail and you're reading it and you're like, I got to reply to them, good, bad, or ugly. But they died before you received it, but they wrote it and sent it out. This world is vast. And there's a part of me that really doesn't think that one comes back into this world. Please convince me. Let's talk about it. But I don't think one comes back to this exact planet, which is so small compared to the universe. You might end up not even a human being. This is what people say. They've said, you might end up as a fly in India. You might end up as a cow in China. You might end up as a blood-sucking bat in South America. You may not even come back as a human. You might come back as a sickly person who has to endure great pain through what your life offers you. All kind of possibilities. But why? Why? I'm not debunking it, but there is, I know, connection. And what do I mean by that? You have a mother who is resting in her bed peaceably. She has lots of children. The mother is not the mother over children who are under 10 years old, under 20 years old. The children are like, 35, 25. She might be 55, 60, whatever. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, for no reason, say her son is named Charles. Charles. And the husband, the father's next to, what's up, honey? You having a nightmare? What's going on? No, it's not a nightmare. Charles, something's wrong. He's been shot. He was in a car accident. I know it. And so now, these days, we have cell phones. She begins to call Charles. No answer. Then she gets a phone call from the police department, the EMS, the authorities. Your son Charles has been shot. He's in critical, or let's not make it so bad. He's still alive, but he's been shot. He'll be okay. Let's make it a nice story where he'll be okay. It wasn't meant for him, but he was in the wrong place, or the right place, which is not right, but at the wrong time. The right place to catch that bullet at the wrong time. Sometimes we say wrong. Wrong is when you're not there to catch anything. But I'm open for discussion on that too. She felt a connection to her son. She felt a connection to her daughter in other situations, that the daughter might be ailing in her heart over a breakup that she doesn't want to tell her mother about because the mother thought that they were going to get engaged. The mother, a connected mother, feels that. Now we can go further and say the mother may not be connected to the child or the daughter or the son or any one of her children because she's so full of her own toxicity and dysfunctions, and that clouds and that breaks the connection. Like corroded terminals on a battery that doesn't have a good connection, so you have to get that little thing to clean off all the muck and all the stuff so they can have a good connection to let the electricity pass by or pass through. Connectedness, I know that for a fact. We are connected. You go to certain places. You go to places where there was lots of trauma. Let's say, for example, in the Cape Coast or Elmina or Osu slave dungeon, because that's what it was for us. It wasn't a castle. They'll say slave castles. It was a castle for those slave masters and those who are involved in that, who can pick and choose what woman they want, or 2 or 3 women they want to go bring up in the room or do whatever, or men, because them people are freaks. And so this is your first time there, and you feel something. You feel the trauma and the pain and the suffering that burned a hole in that particular physical place, but on a spiritual level. That's a connectedness. Were we here before? Reincarnation states so. But do we feel through a connectedness the pain that was meant for those who look like us? That it was so severe that like a radio signal, it was shot out and it's still floating around out there. Radio signals bounce around for a time. We're not radios. We're more complex than that. The pain in our heart, the things that we go through, the trauma. This is where you have trauma bonding. This is where you have people who on a good level can sympathize with others who've gone through the same thing because they have a bond of connectedness. It's deep, and I think that's what it is. The baton has been passed on to a next person to feel that connectedness, whether it's a relation of a mother to daughter. It could be friends. It's just like soul ties. Soul ties doesn't always have to be a sexual thing. It can be where you have such an intense connection of a friendship and a bond that you have this thing called a soul tie, but it's not a sexual thing. So don't always think it's a sexual thing. There's a lot going on in our world that we're not aware of. We see the person, we see people, we see the facade, we see what they want us to see, but what is it really in their heart? Who are they really? When you live a clean life and live a life without the chaos and the confusion and all these things spinning around, the social media in your head, you're on your phone and you have your phone and you're just so stuck to your phone. I was sent a picture. I'll say it. Jack Griffin sent me a photo, a cartoon. And this is off topic, but I had to. It just flashed in my mind. And in the cartoon, there was a person behind bars, a man behind bars, to say he's in jail and he had the stripes and everything. And on the floor were the keys that he can pull in with this little stick that he had and get the keys and unlock himself. But next to the keys was a smartphone. And I guess he could have got both, but he was trying his best to reach that stick over or whatever it was, because they called it fishing in prison or in jail. When you under your cell can use a rope or a string or a belt, and you can pass things from one cell to the other down the hall as long as the CO doesn't catch you doing it. But he was fishing for the cell phone first, for the smartphone first, because the smartphone was more important to him than his very freedom. Everything's trying to land on me now, right? I guess my head is like an insect landing strip when they see it from far above. Oh, that looks nice and smooth. Let me land on that. But that's to show you what we find to be more important. And for me, to detox from myself. Now, how does it sound when I say it that way? No, I mean that. I always say go into your innerverse. But the self of that has been encrusted on me from my dealings in the outside world. It's like an exoskeleton, a skeleton that's on the outside of the body as opposed to being something on the inside. And as we move through different experiences in this life, we get chipped away or things get thrown on us, like mud, like dirt, things we have to wash off, but we don't see it because it's not physical. And it becomes that thing that people see, our experiences and how we've reacted to it and what's on us, that they may assess us in the wrong way. And as this stuff is on you, it stops your vibration from going out. I'm speaking very abstract, y'all. I'm an artist. What do you expect? I see things different. So for me to be free, I need to be away from lots of people. It has to be. Now, I can enjoy a crowd. It's almost like Muhammad Ali rope-a-doping, putting his fist up and letting the guy throw the punch, letting George Foreman hit him with the blows, but it didn't really hit him. It landed on his arms. I rope-a-dope crowds, right? I enjoy seeing and observing and seeing things that other people don't see, but I don't want anything thrown off on me, so I spend a lot of time by myself. This is my 6th day not leaving this compound, not leaving the protection, the physical protection of these walls around me. But also, more than that, you can be protected physically all you want, but what about here? What about the things you're thinking about? Are you thinking to go higher? Or are you into the same decadence that you've always been in? Or are you aware that you need to clean off the stuff, the residue of how people have done you wrong, how people have hurt you, how people have deceived you? And we walk around with this pain. And when we have conversations with our friends who know us well, here we go back like a broken record. Oh, I remember back in 1980, and that girl hurt me when we broke up. I still wanna. Man, that's 44 years ago. What are you talking about? You see, we get so caught up in the things that are on us. So we've got to detox ourselves away from ourselves, the self that the world has caused us to be, and get to the real deal. Scrape away all this muck that has dried up on us and has changed our view. It's blurred our view. We can't see the world for what it is because we got this stuff on us. And it's sad because if there is a thing called reincarnation, does this world and this level want you back? Connectedness. Connect to the higher so you can go higher. Get rid of all of this stuff and the pain that people have brought you. Yes, it's not easy. But you can make sure that it doesn't happen again. Every time you've been screwed over, character smeared, told, other people told not to be around you because you're a bad person, but the next person's a schizophrenic narcissist with a history of mental issues, but they want to take it out on you because they see the light through the encrusted stuff that once you remove it will shine out to the world and it speaks for itself. So your biggest victory over all who have done you wrong is to detox from that self that you've become because of what they've done to you, and to shine bright. And sometimes it takes a little time because, like any boxing match, when you get knocked down, sometimes it takes a little while to get up and your head's not clear. You got to clinch, you got to kill the clock so you can get yourself and get your senses back. But oh, when you know, hey, you hit me with that blow, I'm not going to let you or anybody else hit me that way again. That way, the negative things that happen to you, right? It's a lesson that will make you better. But you always have to be aware of the part on the inside that maybe you have even forgotten. You know, it's not just something physically on the outside. It's on the inside of us. It's embedded. It's marbled into our spirit oftentimes. And you know, when you have a bad meal on a physical level, you go out, you see something, you say, man, that thing looks good. And you eat. And all of a sudden you start to feel a little nauseous. And you realize there's something about that food. Maybe it wasn't prepared properly, but there's something about that food that wasn't right. Now you feel sick. It may not be pain. It could be just nausea. And you begin to throw it up. So sometimes these things we have to throw up out of ourselves. It could be on the external, obvious. It could be something deep that's not so obvious. But the best way to do it is to spend time to yourself and let the thoughts come to you on what you need to do. How you need to nourish yourself physically and get off of certain foods. How you need to rest and get your sleep until you can lay down until you wake up, as opposed to an alarm clock waking you up. Get away from the chaos. This is heaven to me, to be away from the chaos. And nobody's knocking my door. You got to hop that wall, and that's a task. But that's the physical. We need walls up here. People say, oh, no, you don't need walls. You need to vibe with people. No, but when you are sick in the hospital and you have something contagious, your family who loves you so much, they can't or they won't be allowed to come into the room. And they love you, but trust me, if you have something really bad, they don't want to come in there and hug you up and because they're going to get it. So this is how you have to remove yourself from many of the sicknesses around us. And I'm not saying people are all sick, but when you need healing, you can't hang around people who are partially sick. You see? Because you need healing. And you know what? I need healing. And I'm healing right now. My head is clear. My thoughts are clear. There are no whispering spirits around me trying to influence me to give my life force to them for what they may say is a good cause, but they only want it for their own selfish reasons. See, my problem was always I was giving myself away. I'm enthusiastic about doing this, but come on, I'll hook you up. I'll do this for you. I'll put you out there. No more. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. I'm advanced. So now, all that you feel in your life that has been knocked down, and people have taken a little chunk of your life force and walked off with it, don't feel bad about that. Let them have it, because they cannot replicate you through what they do. The best thing for you to do is look within, clean off what's on you, throw up what's in you, and shine bright. And it takes time to cultivate your life force to vibrate at its highest power. It's healing. You don't go to the hospital, which I don't advise going to the hospitals. That's a whole different other story. Even if you're home and getting well, you don't just rest for, you don't dictate how long it takes to heal. You can't say, well, my best friend took them 2 weeks to get over certain things, but it could take you 2 years. The faster you get into you and to do the house cleaning of you, when you finally get there and you finally learn yourself and how people have manipulated you and how you block up these holes where they've gotten in to use you in so many different ways, even from your weaknesses, even from things that they can see, because demons in these people, they are highly perceptive. They can come around you and assess you really quick and keep testing you and say, I got a live one here. But when you block those things up and you just let them know what it is, you don't even have to do it verbally. You can just think it. Look them in the eye. They're like, I don't think I want to mess around with this one. It's like that in the animal kingdom. Fierce animals come and growl in their teeth, and you're looking at them like, yeah, I wish you would. And they walk away like, this person's too confident. You will be confident when you get to know yourself, how you operate, doing the things that you are put here to do, and excelling in that and ascending, right? And I'm bringing that back to reincarnation. You do that, you don't have to wonder about reincarnation, but you'll always have a connectedness, as you do right now, and oftentimes you don't know it. You can start healing right now. Don't let the illusion of things being so bad stop you. You can come back. There's no fall that you cannot come back from. The universe will open up and make a way for you to shine brighter than ever before without the junk that people put on you. Oftentimes their own junk that they don't want to deal with, so they put it on you, and you're trying to be nice and you're carrying their junk. No. You are not put here to babysit anyone, right? There's some things flying around me that are huge. I don't know what. Maybe you caught it on, maybe it was caught on the camera. You'll see. That lets me know with the lights going down, evening coming, the sun has set. Now it's going to get real dark and party time for the insects and all the things that fly around at night, like I'm seeing, right? But yeah, you weren't put here to babysit. You were put here to ascend, right? There's no plane on the runway that says, oh, let me just stop. Let me slow down. I'm about to take off, but let me stop and lose momentum and watch and make sure this other one. No. Because when you lose that speed to take flight, you're going to taxi on the runway and fall off at the end. Anyway, I hope my words helped you. I know I was all over the place, but I just had to say what I said. And tonight we're going to go live. You'll see this after we go live, right? But I'm just going to keep on with the work and going deeper and going deeper. And if there's anything you want me to talk about, any questions you want me to have answered, if I know from my own abstract way and from where I stand, I don't know everything, I'll be glad to give you my input. Just put it down in the comments section below and we'll rock. Anyway, much love to you all. LANCESCURV out. On to the next one. Always go to LANCESCURV.com. If you don't see me on any of the social media platforms, right? They can't touch that. Anyway, much love to you all. Take care. So long.
Make sure to go to LANCESCURV.com, an online magazine established in 2001, containing written articles, thousands of talk shows and discussions, cutting-edge cartoons, as well as erotic expressions and tasteful adult photography. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. Once you get a taste of the world of LANCESCURV, trust me, you'll be back for more. LANCESCURV.com. Bold, raw, and uncut.
So, my friend, take it for what it's worth. Your heaven and your hell is right here on this earth.